Musiker-Board Germany, backstage at line 6 was Max. And since we had the factory tour stuff done and covered already, we've seen the new product, and I can tell you that the initial feedback we got from the users and from looking around in other forums and how it's got presented is pretty good. Everybody's amazed on Amplify and says the idea is brilliant. I will have a look, which is the best starting point for you to generate customers that want to buy it, as I have a look. So we're now here backstage, as I said, and we just got the closed deal with Yamaha that is putting money into line 6, and what we're trying to find out is how this is going to influence the future, if you will be able to afford thinking out of the box as you did with Amplify and Stage Source, if it's going to help, in what direction it's going to help, and I think you're the right guy to talk to about that.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. There's not really much I can say about the Yamaha acquisition of Line 6 other than the two companies are very similar in that we want to make innovative products that serve customer needs and solve customer problems. And when we started talking, we saw that both culturally and philosophically, the companies were very similar despite how different they are in size. And so I would expect, just like with Steinberg or Nexo or Bosendorfer, those companies have maintained their independence and their innovation and their brand identity very well and flourished within the Yamaha family. And so we're looking forward to that same experience. And sharing information and, learning from them and, contributing to what they're doing, them contributing to what we're doing is all possible in the future. And we're looking forward to getting started. So that's where we're at. All we see in front of us really is huge opportunity, and it's going to be good.
Yeah, that growing together, sharing parts, sharing ideas is something that happens. I drive a Jaguar car, which was built just like 2 years after they had been merged into Ford Premier Automotive Group. And this car definitely looked like a Jaguar, and it had all the malfunctions a Jaguar has usually. As soon as I took a carpet out of the way to solve one of those malfunctions, I found a Ford part underneath. So that's a synergy that might happen. They keep their own face, keep their own identity, but put their efforts together, which might make the product cheaper because there's a common part used all over the place. But also you could perhaps bring in a guy that is pretty good at some sound wave analysis whatsoever and put all those joint forces into one big melting pot. The creativity of Line 6 to say we are sonically rebuilding amplifiers. We put them in a small, easy-to-use box for the customer. To build a stage source system that is focused around the musician, where does that creativity come from?
It starts with the customer. We take a philosophical approach here that we call outside-in development. We start outside the building with the customer. What problems is the customer having? Where's their pain point? What things are they, what's causing friction in their workflow, in their experience with our products, with other people's products, just in general. And we bring those problems into the building and we say, how can we solve these problems in a way that, is meaningful, that does it within their price expectations, and that meets ultimately their needs and helps them, do what they need to do and become more inspired and creative as a result. So we get a lot of inspiration from just understanding what's going on with the customer. So with something like Stage Source, you start with a musician and you say, a musician isn't, in all cases, in a lot of cases, a sound engineer, right, an audio engineer. And, they're not at front of house mixing position, right, they're on stage. how can we create a paradigm that allows them to quickly get an amazing production live, and makes it really easy for them and takes the complexity out of setting up a live sound production and performance. And so that's where that product, those were the problems we wanted to solve there. And then what are some of the other things? Well, when you think about something like Amplify, you start with this idea that, what's the next amp? If you go back 18 years to the Axis 212 and modeling came out, there were some real problems being solved. How can I possibly afford all these different tones and stuff? And modeling took care of that. But today, 18 years later, everybody's on their mobile phones. They're interconnected with the world socially, and over the internet and in the cloud. And there's a lot more distraction in their lives, and their lives are moving a lot faster than they were back then, and they have a lot less time to actually spend playing music. We heard from customers, I just wish I had more time to play music, because by the time I get everything set up and by the time everything is working, I have to go to dinner, or I have to put the kids to bed, or all those distractions that life puts in front of you. So we said, what we really need to do is solve all that for them and make it really easy, where they can literally, in just a matter of a minute, get a great sound on their guitar, hear a great playback track without having to set up a bunch of stuff, have something that looks gorgeous enough that it could be in the living room. So they don't have to go out into the man cave or relegated to their bedroom or something to go do that. Exactly, right? And then not need an array of pedals and all this kind of stuff just to get a good tone to jam with what you want to jam with. Because by the time you get the tone where you want it and you get everything balanced the way you want it, you're done. Or sometimes you're just the tech fatigue, I like to call it. It's like setting all this stuff, all my inspiration's gone. So we said with Amplify, let's figure out a way that they could start with a great playback track that sounds amazing. Even if they're not playing guitar, they could use this to just listen to music and be super satisfied, more than any Bluetooth streaming speaker. Then let's make a system using the internet, using the cloud, and using a bunch of metadata, so taking advantage of all the technology today to help give them tone so they don't even have to think about it. They pull up a song, it matches the tone automatically, and then let's make them, immersed in a larger community. Let's let them rate those tones as a community and share tones that they create with other people. And let's crowdsourcing make the whole system better over time. So Amplify today has 6,000 plus tones. A year from now, it's going to have 10 times that, and they're going to be better than ever because everybody's going to be creating them, rating them, and the best ones are going to float to the top. So all of these things enable this guitar player to get back to choosing guitar instead of getting on Facebook or going on YouTube to look at the keyboard cat, because now they don't have to go, well, I'd really love to play my guitar, but I don't have enough time to do it. And then for the people that have time, the user experience of the application and the new paradigm makes it easier than ever to create tone. That's another friction point that customers told us. It's like, I want to create really good tones, but it's really hard. These little encoders, I can't really tell what the meter's saying to me. The encoder isn't accurate enough. I can't dial it in. Yeah, right? So when you look, yeah, and when you look at, when you're on an iPad and the way we did it, where you have the sliders to slide all your parameters back and forth, you literally get to mix a tone like if you were on a mixing board. And that's the reason the mixing board paradigm is so powerful, and the reason audio engineers use it everywhere is because it is the best paradigm to dial in perfect tone. And so that's what that gives you. So, but it all started with this customer problem, and then the idea is to translate that into really innovative solutions. So in StageScape's case, in Amplify's case, it's all coming from that same place.
In addition to what you said, and to the tone will be you will be helped to find a tone matching the backing track you play at the moment. Because you said earlier, time consuming is one of the factors. And when I first tried out a pod, I thought it's taking away playing time from me, because I could do too much with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now with the help of the cloud, and I assume it will develop with the ranking system into a direction where there's really usable sounds to the songs that you have.
Yeah.
This is gonna get me playing faster. Takes for me one of my personal restrictions out of modeling amps of any kind, which would normally be the amount of options that I have that I don't really want to look at, because I would rather have a cranked up Blues Junior and play through it.
Right.
Right. The second portion, since I consider that the ideas come from the outside into the company, I appreciate the invite. I'd be looking forward for an amplify system, 275s, amplifiers that connect themselves as a stereo setup monitoring system I can place anywhere in my room. And I would appreciate to have the option of putting the guitar cable into the iPad I run it with, like through an Apogee 1 or whatsoever,
Right.
through a Jamman, whatsoever, and over the Bluetooth stream, where you stream the audio in really good quality, also stream the basic guitar signal into the amplifier, because then it can be anywhere in the living room, and I could be next to my computer where I do all the settings and run it.
Or yeah, see, so like that's the problem we would be solving there, is you don't want to be tethered to the amp with your cable.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a great problem to solve, right? And we have some technology, what we do wireless, right? So yeah, there's a lot of possibilities there. That's really good feedback. So appreciate you sharing that. That's good.
Alrighty, so we're looking forward to the next option where you can see the integration of those ideas. I can't wait. I'm always and I thank you for the time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Musiker-Board, line 6, says goodbye for the moment.